Not on my Chromebook. Okay. So we'll do this on with the TI calculator first, just to show you that there's a shortcut for this. And then Mariah, don't worry, we'll then do it on another way where you don't need the TI calculator. Okay, so we'll do it with the TI calculator first, just to show you how it's done with that calculator. And then we'll do it another way where we don't use the TI calculator, but instead we use the free Google Sheets. Right? Google Sheets will calculate it for you as well. So let's go ahead, guys. Can you guys open up your TI calculator app? If you don't have that app, I'm going to go ahead and give you that link in the chat right now. Let me find the link. You think I'd be prepared? Where's that link? There you are. Let me go ahead and get that link for you guys. I'll put it in the chat for you to download the app if you're on your Chromebook. This only works if you're on a Chromebook, by the way. If you don't have a Chromebook, we'll do it a different way afterwards. But a second here. Copy link location. So there we go. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. That's for you to get it on your Chromebook if you haven't done so already. Okay. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look here. And this is, don't worry about writing down the steps. Don't worry about all that. We're going to do more practice with this. And I'll show you how. I'll write down the steps on these notes so then you can copy down the steps as well. Okay. So let's take a look over here. In order to calculate the standard deviation on this calculator, you need to put these numbers into a list. And I've already shown this part for you to calculate the mean and the median, right? And it's pretty much the same exact steps. You need to find a place to store these numbers. And the easiest place to store these numbers is in a list. So you see right here this button that says stat. We're going to go ahead and click on this button right here that says stat. And it comes over here and it says, do you want to edit? And yes, we do want to edit. So after hitting stat, we go ahead and press edit. And it takes us to this list. L1, list 1, L2 is list 2, and L3 is list 3, and so on and so forth. Right? And it goes all the way up to L6 if you press the right arrows. So just to keep your life simple, store everything in the L1 just for right now, just to make your life simple, and we're just going to keep it in there. Okay. So I'm going to take these numbers right here, and I'm going to type them into my calculator. Right? So 41 plus 38 plus 39 plus 45 plus 47 plus 41 plus 44 plus 41 plus 37 plus 42. And now a common thing that occurs, by the way, is if you're ever working with these calculators, I don't actually know how it works on your Chromebooks though, but if you have a physical calculator, right? If you have a physical calculator or you're using the emulator, by the way, if you want, you can download the emulator on your phone as well. On the iPhone, I believe the program is a TI-culator, I think is what it's called, or Taculator. I think it's Taculator or TI-culator. Look one up. There is a free one, and it does the same exact thing as this does on the iPhone. And if you have Android, look up Wabbit Emu. I'll type that into the chat right now. If you have an Android phone and you want to do this on your Android instead, you can. Wabbit Emu is another one that you could do. And look it up, and it'll look exactly like I have on my phone right here. It's just a little bit tricky setting up the ROMs. So if you need help setting it up, come by my office hours, and you can get it on your Android phone. If you have an iPhone, you can download this. I think it's TI-culator, but it could be Taculator. I forget. I'm pretty sure you guys have found one already. Anyways, if not, let me know. So the bigger problem I was saying is that sometimes when you're working with those emulators or when you're working with a real-life TI calculator in real life, is the numbers that are there might not be the numbers that you care about, and you need to clear them out. And what's really annoying is if you try to go here and try to clear them out one by one, you see it doesn't actually, it just takes too long. You have to press delete like however many numbers there are. If you keep pressing delete, it'll just slowly delete it. And if you have 20 numbers in there, I don't want you sitting there pressing delete 20 times, right? To clear out the numbers in this list, all you have to do is highlight the list itself. Don't press delete, because delete actually deletes the whole list. It doesn't actually, it gets rid of the L1 completely. And you don't want to do that. You want to clear your L1. You want to clear your list. So you go up to the very top there, you just press clear, and then press enter, and then you reset it to clear out all the numbers in your list. Okay? So back to this. I don't know why I did that right now, but back to this right here. I have 41, 38, 39, 45, 47, 41, 44, 41, 37, and 42, and there are 10 numbers here. So that's the first thing you need to do. Press stat, go into edit, and put all those numbers into this list. Once you put all those numbers into those lists, you hit second, and you hit mode to quit back out to Blinky right here. Again, don't worry if this is going too fast. I'll write down the steps after this, okay? I'll write down the steps after this. And then after that, we go ahead and press stat again. Go over to calculate, right? Is this sounding familiar? I'm pretty sure I think we did this together when we were trying to calculate the mean and the median, but just a heads up, right? Go over to calculate. Look for this one right here. This says one var stats. That stands for one variable statistics. And we're only sticking numbers in for this one variable x, right? So it's the very first one. So again, how did I get there? Second quit. We're on the home screen. You're going to press stat, go to the right to calculate, and we're going to hit one var stats right there. We press enter, and it defaults to L1, and that's where we typed our numbers in. If you typed it into L2, you have to tell it that it's in L2 by hitting second and the 2, and you can change it to L2. Right, but it's in L1. Don't change anything if you typed anything in L1. We go down to calculate, press enter, and check it out. I have my mean, which is 41.5. That's what we calculated. That's true. We also have these other ones. We don't care about the sum of x's or the sum of the x squares, but this is what I do care about. Do you guys see that little O with a line right there? That O with the line with the little x next to it is actually what this is. We just don't have the little x next to it, right? This is the standard deviation, and they got 2.97489. Look at what we got when we did it the other way. 2.97489 as well, but we rounded it to 49. Why did you have us write all this down then, Knock Me? If I could just plug it into this calculator. I wanted you to see where this comes from. I don't want you to think it's just some magic voodoo thing that your calculator does. It's a calculation that takes into account every single data point, compares it to the mean, and then takes an average of that, right? It adds it all up and divides by how many there are. That's the variance part. Since we squared it, right? Since we squared it right here, we undo that squaring by taking the square root. And that's where this equation comes from. It's not just some crazy equation that someone came up with. I mean, it is. You know, it is a crazy equation that someone came up with. But it makes a little bit of sense, right? You're measuring how far away is a person's data from the average for every single person. And when you do that, you come up with this number that represents the standard deviation. And that's a big deal. It's called a standard because it's the standard way to measure this. Now you have a way to say, you know what? $5,000 is a lot of money that one person makes compared to another if you're working at a spray and pray, hay and spray, right? The mechanic workshop in GTA, right? But if you're a lawyer, right? If you're a lawyer and one person's making $700,000, another person making $705,000, right? $5,000 based off of that standard deviation is not a lot of money, right? Now you have a way to actually say, oh, well, the standard deviation is $50,000. Well, if the standard deviation was 50,000, which could happen, by the way, this standard deviation was just 2.9 thousand, right? But if you calculate the standard deviation to be 50,000, right? And one person makes $5,000 more than the other, well, he's making a very small amount of more than the other person because standard deviation was 50,000. This is less than one standard deviation, right? But if someone was making $100,000, that's 2 standard deviations away for this made-up scenario, and that would be considered a lot. Right? And that would be considered a lot. And like I said, this is a very powerful tool. We use this to help us to figure out, well, what's kind of close and what's kind of far and what is, and this is the mathematical term, by the way, what is hella far from your mean, right? If you're 3 standard deviations away, meaning if this standard deviation is 2.9, right? 2.9 times 3, right, is about 8.7 thousand. If you are 8.7 thousand away from something, from this average, you'd be considered being paid hella more than the other people, right? Based off of this standard deviation. But if the standard deviation was, let's say, 10,000, and I multiply that by 3, and you're only making $9,000 more, you're not considered that far from the average, even though you're making $9,000 more than the average. If the standard deviation was 10, you wouldn't be considered far. You'd actually be considered kind of close to the average, right? And that's how we use standard deviation. It helps us to measure how far away you are from something, right? So when you guys take tests in your class, right, and most teachers don't do this don't do this at all. If the teacher tells you what the class average is, and they say the class average was a 80%, which is pretty good, by the way. it'd be nice if they told you what the standard deviation was as well, so you could figure out how far away you were from the class. If the class average was an 80% and the standard deviation was 4, let's make it, yeah, it was 4, right? And you got an A, right? You're actually about 10 units away from it when the standard deviation is 4. That's about 2.5 standard deviations away. You're actually kind of far from the class average. You're actually kind of more advanced than the rest. Not just a little advanced, right? Not just a little advanced. A lot more advanced, right? Not a lot. Yeah, a lot. 2.5 is a lot. Yeah, 2.5 is a lot. And if you were 3 standard deviations away, you could actually make the claim, mathematically, you are hella smarter than the rest of your students, than the rest of your peers, right? If you're 3 standard deviations away. And I think that's kind of neat, right? You actually make that claim. Standard deviation was, let's say, this number, and you're this far away from the average, you could say you're that much smarter than them. At the same time, you could also say, if you're on the lower end and you're only a couple points below the average, you're not that far from the class, right? If you're within 1 standard deviation away. Of course, this could hurt if you are 3 standard deviations below the class average. Then that's just kind of, you know, you got to figure out what the heck happened, what went wrong, and or maybe everyone just did really well. But you know, that's just things that you take into account once you calculate the standard deviation. Okay. All right, I'm talking too much, right? Hopefully, but that makes, I'm hoping it makes sense why we calculate the standard deviation. And if this all flew over your head and you're just like, knock me, just show me how to calculate the standard deviation. Let's do another example problem here. Okay, let's do an example problem. And I'm not going to do this one right away. I'm going to write down the steps to do this for this particular problem. Okay, so how did I do this on the first one? How did I type this into my calculator? Right, the first thing I did was I pressed stat, and then I went into edit. So this is what I'm going to put in my notes. To do this on my TI calculator, the steps for this is, first step is press the stat button. First step, stat. That's the first button you press. And after you press that, you're going to go into the edit option, right? You're going to go into the edit option. And the reason why you do this is to put in, to put numbers into the list. Put numbers in a list, right? Usually L1. Usually L1. Now, if L1 already has numbers, right? If L1 already has numbers, I'm going to put this as a asterisk. And that's not an asterisk, that's a star. That's a terrible asterisk. I'm just going to draw a star. I can't draw an asterisk, apparently. Ah, there you go. There's my asterisk. So if, you know, there are already numbers already there, here's what you need to do. Highlight L1 and then press clear and then press enter. Press clear and then press enter after you highlight L1. So let's do that real quick for this one if you're working along with me, right? We already did this example for company A. Let's do the same thing for company B and see if we can get the standard deviation and the mean for this one. Okay, let's see if we can get the standard deviation and the mean for this one. So check this out. I'm going to go ahead and follow along with the steps I've written so far, which is going to be stat. And then it's right there where it says edit. I press enter, and I need to enter my numbers in here. But there are already numbers there. So I need to clear out these numbers. So all I need to do is highlight L1. So you just see my cursor right here, this highlight. I press up to highlight L1, press the clear button, and then press the enter button. And that clears out everything in L1. Isn't that beautiful? Right? Now that I've done that, I need to enter the numbers into the list here. And the numbers are right here, 40, 23, 41, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to go ahead and type in those numbers here. So 40, 23, 41, 50, 49, 32, 41, 29, 52, and 58. So I've typed in my numbers into there, right? After you type in these numbers, I can't work with this list inside this list, so I go ahead and press second and mode, which is to quit out of that screen. So I'm going to write that down, okay? So if you guys are following along with me here, the button I'm going to press is second, right? Second, and then I'm going to press mode. And the reason why I press mode, by the way, is if you look above mode, there's a little word that says quit. Quit. And that's what I need to do. I need to hit second and mode to quit out to this screen. And then from there on this screen, I press stat again. Stat. But this time, I'm going to go over to calculate. So I'm going to go over to calc, right? And I'm going to select the option for one variable statistics. One variable statistics. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So you hit stat, go over to the right to where calc is, right? And then on the calc tab, there is a 1 var statistics. When you press enter there, it takes you this menu right here. From here, all you need to press then is press the calculate button. I can spell calculate. The calculate button. So that's right down here. So you just go down to calculate, press enter, and boom, it has your data right there. It tells you what the average is. So in this case, X bar is equal to 41.5. And of course, this is the part that you need to be careful here, right? This is a population for corporation B. So remember your symbols, guys. Remember your symbols. Remember your symbols. Sigma, right, is the population standard deviation, right, which tells me that it is 10.5 right now, 10.5, whereas the S value is the sample standard deviation, right? Now, which one do you care about in this particular problem? Like I said before in the last class, I should have did a better job and tell you guys that this example is a population because we're looking at a population of only the people who work at Corporation B, only the people who were hired, right? I'm not looking at every single worker there. I'm looking at every single new hire, and there's only 10 graduates, so it's the population. I'll do a better job on future problems to let you know if this is a sample or if this is a population. If you guys look at the next example right below here, do you see here the word says a sample office rental rates? This one I would be looking at the sample, I'd be looking at S. But since this one up here doesn't say that this is a sample, I'm looking at all 10 workers. Again, I should have did a better job of saying this is a population. I'm looking at this one right here, and this would be my answer. This would be my answer of 10.5, right? Of 10.5. So the mean starting salary, by the way, the mean is 41.5, which, hey guys, is the same mean as up here. This one also has a mean of 41.5. So I don't know which company, if you're just looking at the means, which one should you work for, right? But this one has a standard deviation of 2.9. This one has a standard deviation of 10.5. So that's how you calculate standard deviation using your TI calculator. And on the test, there will be times that you're going to be asked, what's the standard deviation? And you can use your calculator, right? You can use your calculator. And now, of course, there's some of you who are like, knock me. I don't have a calculator. I don't have a calculator. I don't have my Chromebook. I don't have the TI thing. I don't have an Android phone or an iPhone to get those emulators. And that's perfectly fine. But you guys are here with me on some type of device using Google Meets, which means that you have access to Google Sheets. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. Let's go to here. Google, right, Sheets. And you just type that into Google. Right, and it'll bring up Google Sheets for you guys. You can also go from your drive and create a new Sheets, but I'm just going to go here into Google Sheets, right here, and open up a blank Sheets. I'm going to open up a blank Sheets right here, right? So can you guys do that with me? So all I did was go to Google, typed in Google Sheets, clicked on Google Sheets, and signed in with my account. I went into Sheets and I created a new blank one, which is this one right here. And Google Sheets looks overwhelming because there's like just so many slots here, but just think of them as a way to type in your list. And that's all I'm going to do here. I'm going to type in my values into here. This is going to be my list right here. So for A right here, I'm going to type this out. You ready for this? The numbers that I had from my notes was 40, 23, 41, 50, 49, 32, 41, 29, 52, and 58. I messed up somewhere. I messed up right there. 50. Good. And then I think I need to insert a row below. And after 50, it's supposed to be 49. There we go. So what's nice about this is just the fact that you're doing this on the computer. It's way more advanced than the TI calculator. So I don't know if you guys saw that. If I messed up somewhere, you can right click on here and just insert a row, or you could delete a row as well. So if I need a number between this, which you really shouldn't care if it's in order or not for standard deviation, it doesn't matter if it's in order or not, but just helps you to see it. You can right click and you can just do insert above or below a thing that you have, and you can insert a number that goes there. And if you have a mistake, you can go back and delete it as well. So there are my 10 numbers, right? All right. You notice I'm not writing any steps here for this, and here's the reason why. After you type in all this, go to an empty cell. It doesn't matter where. You can go to any empty cell. I like to go to next to it, and I like to type down over here. This is going to be the standard deviation. Right? I like to type that out right there, and then underneath it is where I'm going to type it out. And here's the part where it gets tricky. This is the part you need to remember here. You have two ways of doing this here. You can go to, I forgot how to do this. Give me 1 second. Is it a function? Yeah, it is a function. So you can go over here and insert a function, right? Click on insert, click on function, and then look at statistical. I'll hide that screen real quick. And this is the part that gets really overwhelming. Function, stats, and you'll see there's average, right? Average magnitude deviation. There's just a bunch of functions here. What I want is the standard deviation. So it's in alphabetical order. I'm going to scroll down to S. And here it is. Standard deviation of the population or of the sample. And remember, that's the part that you need to realize. Is this the standard deviation of a population or the standard deviation of a sample? In this particular example is the population. So here we go again. Insert, function, and I go all the, function. I go all the way to statistics, and I go down all the way to standard deviation, which is stdev. And there's a bunch of different ones here. And this could be very overwhelming. Very overwhelming, but they're actually the same. Standard deviation of entire population, standard deviation of entire population. It's just with a dot P or without the dot. Okay, and I'm gonna go here. It doesn't matter which one, but it is of a population. So I'm gonna click on that. When you click on that, it asks you, hey, where are the values that you're trying to type in to calculate this? And this value is right here in this box. And look up here. You see how there's an A here and there's a 1? That's where the value is located, and that's where I'm going to tell it is at. It's at A1. And look, when I type in A1, what happens there? It highlights it. Do you guys see that? It highlights the 40 because now it sees that, oh, 40 is my value that I care about. Then the next one is going to be A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, and that's just going to take too long. But you could do it. You hit A1, comma, A2, comma, A3, right? And it's just going to slowly highlight them all. That's really annoying. I don't suggest you do that. Instead, I'm going to go over here to A2, right? And just A1 by itself. And check this out. You see the box right here? No, that's not what I want to do. Right? Let's go ahead and delete that. So let's go over here. Instead, you don't use the comma and type in all of them together. Use a colon, and when you use a colon, you can type in where does it end, and it ends down here at A10. So I'd hit capital A, 10, and you see what it does there? It makes the highlighter highlight all the numbers that you care about, right? What's really cool is in Excel, if you use Microsoft Excel instead, you can actually drag that, so you don't have to remember the colon and then type in where it is. You can just drag to where you want it. But I think you can do that here too. I just don't know how. But once you have that highlighted, right? Look what's popping up right there. 10.5. 10.5. Press enter. This thing calculated the standard deviation for you in fewer steps than your TI calculator, right? You just have to take the work and type in the numbers into the sheet, right? Type the numbers into the sheet. And that's the only real work I'd say that is in this type of problem, is typing out those numbers. But once you type out those numbers, right, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the notes as well, because I feel like this is not a bad thing to have. So I'm going to put this off on the side. You don't have to write this down if you don't want to. But this is how to calculate the standard deviation on Google Sheets. On Google Sheets. You ready? How do you do it on Google Sheets? Step 1, open Google Sheets. And again, I did that just by Googling Google Sheets, right? Step 2, type in your data into one column. So what did I do? I went into here, I typed in all my numbers into this column right there, right? Column A. It actually doesn't matter where you type in the numbers. I could have typed it into F as well, but the only difference is when you do the standard deviation calculation, you have to tell it, oh, it's an F1 all the way down to F10, right? If you have 100 numbers, you tell it, oh, it's an F1 all the way down to F100, right? And that's the beauty of this guy. Now, what do you do after that? Step 3, go to another, by the way, those boxes there, they call them cells, right? Go to another cell and type the following. And type the following. You're going to type this right here. You're going to type equals, right? I actually forgot. What the heck? What was the name of the function? Was it std or stdev? I'm going to go to insert, function, statistical. Yeah, it's stdev.p or stdev.s. And one is for the population and one is for the sample. But with the .s, it doesn't say sample. STD. Yeah, that's how I remember standard deviation as well. It was STD. But then on Sheets is with a P, so it's stdev, not just std. So stdev.p or stdev.s, right? So stdev.s will give you the standard deviation for your sample. stdev.p will give you the standard deviation of the population. P for population, S for sample, right? stdev, right? And this is the important part, right? This is the important part. Dot P for population. And it is important that you know which one you're calculating for the population. And dot S for sample. Dot S for sample. Okay? So you type that out. And then what goes inside the parentheses, guys? What goes inside the parentheses? Your first data point, right? So in this particular case, it was A1. By the way, capital A. Don't do it with a lowercase a. Capital A. And then colon, right? This is where your data starts. And then A10. And again, these numbers are going to change, right? Sometimes it'll be A1 to A10. Sometimes it'll be A1 to A30. Depends on how many numbers you have, right? So that's where your data starts. And that's where your data ends, right? That's where your data ends. And then just press enter. After you type that in, step 4, press enter, and your answer is on the screen, right? So both of them don't look like they have that much more steps from each other, but I'm going to leave it up to you how or which method you prefer to do this, okay? Which method you prefer. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, you're going to do that and calculate the standard deviations for me. And that's only going to be worth like about a point or so. I think the bigger thing that we need to talk about is what we do with the standard deviation. What information is given from there, right? Which one is easier in your opinion? I like Sheets, I'll be honest. I like Google Sheets more. With the calculator, with the TI calculator, it's what I first learned and is what I'm actually most comfortable with. But honestly, it's a little clunky if you ask me. I have to go and press stat and then press edit to go into this list. Whereas Google Sheets, as soon as you open up Google Sheets, did I close my Google Sheets? There it is. As soon as I open up Google Sheets, I have this open tab of just things to put in. But again, it can be overwhelming just because there's like a crap ton of stuff everywhere, you know? There's just so much stuff everywhere and all of your functions everywhere. It's just too much sometimes to handle. So you got to be careful with that. And if, again, you can type in stuff. And the thing is, most students would be like, where should I type in my standard deviation? Should I type it down here? If you notice, I just clicked a random cell and I typed it in into there. And it's up to you. It's up to you. You can type it wherever you want, right? Because this is your Google Sheets and this is where you want to have it in there. By the way, you could save don't forget to title this, by the way. This is going to be my scratch work. If you just keep typing, if you just keep going into Google Sheets and keep opening a new blank one, you're going to have like a crap ton of untitled spreadsheets in your drive, and it will flood it. So just title it like your scratch work, for example, like that, scratch work. And that way, when you're going back to this and you want to play with some more, you can just go back and open up Google Sheets again. Google Sheets, right? And then when you go in there, you can just go in there and just look like, hey, you know what? I don't want to create a new blank one. I'm just going to go back to my scratch work. And then if you're done with the numbers from before, you can just highlight them all. You can just highlight them all and then just press delete, right? And it'll delete it out. Same thing with here. I can, I was like, oh God, there's an error. That's because there's no numbers in there. So I can just go in there and just delete that as well and just delete everything and just restart all over from the beginning. All right. So I want you guys to try this. I want you guys to see how to do this, either using your TI calculator or using Google Sheets. So this is the next example right down here. So again, if you're using the TI calculator, right? If you're using the TI calculator, right, your answer is over here in one variable statistics. And there's two answers there. One is 10.5 and the other one is 11.067971, blah, 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 blah. And if you're going to use the S1, that means you're looking at the sample standard deviation. And if you're going to use the little O with the line, the sigma, that's the population standard deviation. Okay? So pay attention to which one is which. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I have a pair deck started. I'm going to give you the link. And I don't want you to show a table for me this time. I don't want you to type out all these numbers anymore because we're past that point. I'm not having you do it by hand. Even on the test, even on the homework, don't do these problems by hand. It's a waste of your time. You have tools that will do it for you. Learn how to do it on either Google Sheets or on the TI calculator. Pick one and stick with it. Try both though. Maybe you like one more than the other. But honestly, you should try these out, right? And that's the main point here is how to calculate it using that technology. Here's the pair deck. We're going to be doing this next one. And you do not need to show the work because you're just going to do it on the calculator, right? I guess it says will do. But you know what? Let me walk you through it together on here with the will do. We can do it together. But you can also just type out your answers once you get it. Here's the pair deck for it. All right, if you want to go to joinpd.com, you can as well. And again, you're not going to show all the work. You're just going to be doing it on a sheet or on the TI calculator and just give me the answer afterwards. All right, so there's the pair deck if you guys want to get in there. Let's do this together, okay? Let's do this together. And I'm going to do it both. I'm going to do it both on the TI calculator and on the Google Sheets. You guys can start whichever one. Louis, that is not what we're doing. Immediately started drawing a stick man. All right. Erased it very quickly. I mean, it was a pretty good quality looking stick man. You know, I'm not gonna lie. That was a good quality stick man that you had there. But let's focus on this one, this problem at hand. So let's do this together, right? Let's do this together, and I'll get you started on typing in the numbers, and then I want you to finish it off by getting the standard deviation on your own. Okay, so let's start this off together. On the TI calculator, if you're using the TI calculator, right? Let's follow the steps here. Step one, we're gonna hit stat, and then we're gonna go to edit, which is the very first option. There's already numbers in here, so I'm going to go highlight L1 and press, what am I going to press? Clear on my button right here. There's the clear button right there. It clears it out, and then press enter. And that clears out all the numbers for me. Now, the next thing after you clear it out is you have to actually type in these numbers into here. So go ahead and start doing that if you're on the TI calculator. And again, how did I get there? I went to stat, edit, I cleared out the list, and now I'm going to type in the numbers here, and I'm going to type them in one at a time. So we have 35. By the way, it's 35.00. You don't need to type in the 0.00 because 35.00 is just 35. So I'm going to do 35. Next one is 23. I need the point here, though, because it's 0.75. All right, I'm going to do the whole first column here. 23.75, 36.50. All right, this is 36.5. 39.25, 37.75, 27, 37, and 24.5. So that's the first 8 numbers typed into that column. If you're using the TI calculator, go ahead and do the rest of them. Type in all 24 numbers into there. There are 24 numbers because it's 8 times 3. If you're using Google Sheets, I'm going to make that a little bit smaller here. If you're using Google Sheets, right, this is what we need to do. Get out of here, man. I know it's too small. That's why I'm going to do that, buddy. Don't tell me what to do, what I can or can't do. Boom. There we go. Okay, so you type these numbers, same thing as before, type in these numbers into my sheets. And again, on the Pear Deck, guys, you're not typing out the table anymore. I'm not having you do this by hand because I've been showing you the easier way. So either open up Google Sheets or open up the calculator and start typing in these numbers. So I'm going to type in these numbers over here: 35, 23.75, 36.5, 39.25, 37.75, 27, 37, 24.5, 33.5. I'm going to just do them all on here. I'll wait for you guys. And if you guys already got the answer, you can. Louis, are you drawing out a table? You don't have to, Louis. It's 24 numbers. I mean, you could, but that's horribly cruel if you think I would ask you to do that. That's 24 numbers that you have to write in there. That's a lot. But I would just use Google Sheets. I'm telling you, Google Sheets or your calculator, right? I gave you the link last time to download that calculator. So please, if you don't have it yet, let me know, and we can. I can show you how to install it. But if you're already installed and you don't know where it is, if you're on your Chromebook, just go into the apps and launch your calculator. It should be in your apps on the bottom left, the little apps button, I believe. 26, 40.50, and 38. Look, I did it just right because I ended on the 24th cell. Do you guys see that? The 24th number I typed in is in the 24th cell right there. It's because I'm not on my Chromebook. Ah, okay. Not my phone finna die, but can you tell me real quick where you put the recordings on Canvas so I can catch up later? They're always on Canvas on the daily agendas, usually the day after, Jada. So if you go to the daily agenda, or weekly agenda, I'm sorry, weekly agenda, and you see what we covered the day, the following day, I put the link to the YouTube video recording. So for Tuesdays right here, and today's it'll be up later today because I have to render it and upload it onto YouTube. But it should be up by the end of today, by 3 o'clock today. Okay, Jada? Just in case you get cut out. Okay. All right. Thanks for letting me know, by the way, so I don't think that you're just leaving me high and dry. All right. So let's go through with the Excel steps. Okay, with the Excel steps. So I've typed in my numbers into my data. That was step 2. I'm done with that. Now I go to another cell, and I need to type in the equation. Where do you click? Where on this Google Sheets do you click? It doesn't matter. Wherever you want to. I'm going to click it over here, right? And what do I need to type in? Equals, right? Type the equal sign, then STD, STD, EV, STDev, so standard deviation. Now, is this a population or is this a sample? Do I use a .p or do I use a .s? Do I use a .p or do I use a .s? Read the question here. It is a sample, so it is a .what, guys? It is a .what? It is a .s. And I could just click on this too, right? There we go. And where are my numbers located? My first number, this first number 35, I typed it into A1. I typed it into A1. Okay. What does it go down to? I use a colon to show where it goes down to. So it's A1 all the way down to A24. And there you have it. That's my standard deviation using Excel sheets. So if you guys want to write down that answer for me into the Pear Deck, that would be awesome. For those of you who are in there, there's only 7 of you guys in there. You don't have to draw a table. You don't have to write down anything else. You can tell me what the standard deviation is and just type it in there for me. Okay? Type it in there for me. That's only half of the problem. That's only half of the work. But let me show you how to continue with the TI calculator. So you typed in all 24 numbers. I haven't done that yet, so let me go ahead and do that. That's on the 8th number so far. So this would be 33.5, 26.5, 40, 37.5, 37.25, 35.75, 29, 33, 37, 31.25, 32, 34.75, 36.75, 26, 40.5, and 38. All 24 numbers in there. Again, how do I get out of here? Right, following the directions I have up here, I hit second quit to get out, and then I go ahead and press stat. I'm going to go over to calculate this time. I'm going to go to 1 var stats, and then I press calculate on there. Lewis, I'm assuming you're about to type oh no, that's not what I'm assuming what you're going to type. You typed out the letter B. Oh, so you guys already have the answers. Awesome, awesome. Good job, Calvin. Jared, ST, shock face on the D. Michael, you got the answer in there as well for the standard deviation. But of course, don't forget, this thing is also asking you to calculate the mean, and I'll show you how to do that on Excel as well. But the standard deviation, we already know S is equal to 5.0894. And let's go ahead and see if we got the same answer on our TI calculator. And here it is. You might say, knock me, look, it's 4.98. Remember, that's the sigma. That's for the population. I want it for the sample. I want it for the sample, which is the S, which is right here, 5.08937 or 5.0894, which is what we got on our sheets, right? 5.08937, so on and so forth, which rounds off to 4. And that's beautiful. That's what we got. And that's my answer for the standard deviation. Don't forget the answer for the mean, though. The mean in this case, since, by the way, this is a sample mean, not a population. Oh, whoops, that was bad. That should not have been X bar up there. You know what that should have been up here instead? That should have been a mu. That should have been a mu. Knock me. Bad. Bad knock me. Bad knock me. That was a population. That should have been a mu. This one down here, on the other hand, is a X bar because it is for the sample. It is for the sample. And what I like about the TI calculator is it does both instantly. Right? It does both instantly. So my mean is right there, 33.7291. 33.7291. You could just go to 33.73 if you want to round that. But remember, get yourself used to seeing 4 decimal places. It helps. But you don't have to do it just yet. Okay? And that's your mean. That's your standard deviation. How do you calculate the mean on your Google Sheets then? How do you calculate the mean on Google Sheets? Well, earlier, I just showed you, you just have to type equals and then type in STD, and then it gave you like a list of all of them, right? But check this out. You could also press equals, and you ready for this? Oh, the mean doesn't work. The mean doesn't work as the word mean. Oh, but it has the median there. What's another word for mean? Ah, Calvin's got it. Average. Look, you start typing in average. It's right there, guys. I'm going to go ahead and click on average right there like so. And I don't know if you see this or not, but if you actually click on it, you could actually just drag where you want to calculate the averages. You see this? Boom. You can just drag it like that. And then once I've dragged it from A1 to A24, you see it actually typed it in there for me from A1 to A24. Just press enter, and that's my average. By the way, if you don't type out words next to it, it could look confusing. So this is my standard deviation, right? And this right here is my mean. So you can do it that way. So you can have it in your notes so you can see which one is which. And of course, that's the formula. And that's, I'm going to tell you right now, it seems like this is going to be annoying because just the fact that you have to memorize these formulas, right? And I don't want you to memorize them, but it just makes your life so much easier for them if you know how to do this technology stuff and how to measure this out. Okay? So I have here, my average is 33. By the way, what are we talking about here? Sample office rental rates in dollars per square foot for Lawndale's Central Business District. Okay, so these are the dollar values for a rental place. So the lower the value, the cheaper the place is per square foot, right? You might be paying more for a bigger space, but it's actually cheaper based off the square feet. So one place is charging $27 per square foot. Another place is charging $40 per square foot, right? So that's how this is looking here. That's all what these are recorded. $33 is the average that we have so far for all of these. So if you're looking to rent a place, you're looking to spend around $33 per square foot with a standard deviation of $5. And what that means is if you find a place that is $5 cheaper than the average. So what's 33 minus 5? That's about 28. If you find a place that's $28 per square foot, that's a little cheaper than normal. If you find a place that is $23 per square foot, that's a lot cheaper than normal, right? $23 is 2 standard deviations away from the average. And this is what we're taking into account. This is what helps us to measure how far away you are from the average of your entire data set, right? Of your entire data set. So if I do 33 minus 5, that's 1 standard deviation below, which is about 28. And if I do minus 5 again, that's 2 standard deviations below, right? Which is, I'm telling you right now, that's very cheap. Very cheap if we're using this right here. And you're going to say, knock me, that's only $10 difference. Yeah. But this helps us measure, what is the value of that $10, right? It's 2 standard deviations away, and that's 2 standard forms of measurement, right? And if you go even one more away, right, and you go down and you find a place that's worth $18 per square foot, I'm willing to bet that that place is probably just ghetto and horribly, dilapidated. I can't say the word. Run down, right? But that is hella cheap. I'm telling you, 3 standard deviations. That is a mathematical term, by the way. You keep hearing me say it, but 3 standard deviations away, that is hella far from the average, right? So if you find a place that is $18 per square foot, that is hella cheap based off of this data, right? Based off of this data. There'll be other datas where 15 is not considered that big of a deal. But in this particular case, since our standard deviation is 5, 15 is a big deal. 15 is a big deal. And it all comes down to your standard deviation. That's why we care about it. That's why we calculate the standard deviation. It's just to help us to measure that. Okay? So that's the answer right there, guys. That's what I would write down. Can you guys put that onto the Pear Deck slide? The 10 of you that are in there, out of the whole 30 of you guys that are in my class, why are you guys not going into this Pear Deck to work on this? Are you already just doing it in your notes? What is going on? Where's everybody? There's usually more than just 10 of you guys on this Pear Deck. I'm gonna put the link in there again. I'm shaming you guys in there. Go in there. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next slide because this next one I'm not gonna do for you. I want you guys to do it and show me the answers that you get on this Pear Deck for this next one. Okay, so this is the we'll do and this is what we got. Can you guys try this for this example right here for the you try? Try this for this example for the you try. I'm gonna put this. Did I have that slide copied twice? Oh, I'm an idiot. I have that slide copied twice. Let's go down here. This is the one I want you guys to try. All right, so try this one. Can you guys go ahead and try and calculate the standard deviation for this one right here, where the office rentals are for Seattle's Central Business District. And this is, of course, a sample mean and a sample standard deviation. So I want you to find the sample mean and I wrote that in the wrong order. The sample standard deviation and calculate the sample mean for me. And I'm going to go ahead and set a timer of, let's say, this is going to take you a while because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14. There's 20 data points here. So you're going to have to type in 20 numbers into either your TI calculator or into Google Sheets. So if you're lost on what to do, I'll put up both examples here. So put this is the example you guys are doing, okay? So it's on the Pear Deck. It's already there for you guys to see the numbers, right? And if you want to do it on Google Sheets, Louis, you can do it on Google Sheets. And I'll put the Google Sheets up with the directions on screen right now. And if you're going to do it on the TI, here are the directions for the TI. I'm going to leave that up, but that's not going to fit all the way. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller there, so then you can see that if you want to do that, or if you have it on your notes. But let me show the Sheets one as well. So here's the Sheets example that we just did. And I'm going to put here in quotes, how did we get this? Don't put it with the quotes, okay? So it'll be, how did I get the standard deviation? It was equal to STDEV dot S, and then the numbers were from A1 to A24. Your numbers are going to change a little bit because you're going to have only 20 numbers instead of 24. So make sure you fix that when you guys are writing that out. And then to calculate the mean, the phrase that you have to type in here is equals the average, right? The average from A1 to A24. And again, when you do this for your example, it'll be A1 to A20. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys, since you're gonna be typing in 20 numbers, right? You're gonna be doing 20 numbers. If you're gonna use the TI calculator, right? We have that right here, the directions on how to do it on the TI calculator. If you're gonna do it on the Google Sheets, which some of you guys are, feel free to do it this way, you can. And there are the examples right there. I'm gonna leave this posted. Can you guys see that okay? Is that too small, or is that just enough for you guys to see it if you're looking at my screen? Hopefully that's big enough. I'm gonna set a timer for you guys to do this since you're typing in 20 numbers and then calculating this stuff. Let's go with 5 minutes. No, that's not enough time. Let's go with 7 minutes. Let's go with a 7-minute timer and see where you guys are at after 7 minutes, okay? Excuse me. Let's go ahead there. We got to type it all. Yes. You got to type all these numbers, all 20 numbers. Thank you. It's kind of small. Okay, let me figure out how to zoom in a little bit more. Let's do that, but then you won't be able to see all the numbers. Wait, is the Excel too small, or is it the OneNote that's too small, Angie? Are you looking at the Excel example, or are you looking at the OneNote example? Wait, why don't I just do this? Go here and have you go over here and go a little bit bigger. Is that better? Oh, the Excel example. Okay. Shoot. Let me I can make that so we don't care about that number, right? We already have that number. You zoom in a little bit more. That's too much zoomed in, but it's sure. How's that, Angie? Can you see that? Okay. That's better? Okay. All right, sweet. We'll go with that. Okay. All right, try it out, guys. See if you can get the mean and see if you can get the standard deviation for this using this. And if you're done, just chill for a little bit. Just chill for a little bit. We're gonna go for a little bit. 5 more minutes. Let's see where you guys are at. All right, we got some answers already. Good. Good job, Giselle. Good job, Jared. Thank you for typing your responses in there. I appreciate that you're on the pair deck and you're working through it. All right, I appreciate that. For those of you who are still not in there, right, please get in there. It helps me to see where you guys are at. It helps me to see how do you feel about this. So, in fact, if you just click on there just to go in there and just say, I don't know how to do it, that helps me too. And I do not judge you on that. I will not call you out on it. The only person I really call out now is Lewis, because his drawings are pretty good. He has pretty good drawings. But right now, he's not going to do that because he's actually working on it, right? He's actually on the Google Sheets or typing out those numbers. Remember, on the Google Sheets example, or on this example that I want you guys to do, is this you try. So make sure you're doing this you try right here, which has 20 numbers of the office rental rates, okay? So you can use the TI calculator, you can use Google Sheets, either way, but get the mean and get the standard deviation. And of course, focus, make sure you understand that you're looking at the sample standard deviation and the sample mean, right? You're not looking at the population. Hopefully you guys are staying healthy, staying good. Cool. All right, 2 minutes to go. The Wi-Fi kicked me out. Oh no. Are you? I don't know how much did you miss, Nalani? Or were you able to catch like some of the stuff that we did earlier, some of the examples we did earlier, or were you gone for like a majority of it? I don't actually know. Let me know. Let me know. Oh, Christina, you're typing it all into the Pear Deck. You don't need to type out all those numbers. Or did you not know that you were typing your numbers into the Pear Deck instead of your sheets? Careful with that. Because that is a very disturbing image. Very disturbing image for this. All right. How many places do we round up to? Go to at least 2, but if you want to get used to doing these problems, most of the times they go up to 4 decimal places. Most of the times they go up to 4. My fault? I'm just worried that, I don't want you to do extra work. That's all it is. I don't want you to have to do extra work on these. All right, let's see what you guys are getting so far. I don't actually know what the answer is. So I should start doing this myself to see what the answer is. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that off on the side over here and see if we get the same answers. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this at 30 seconds. So let's see where you guys are at once I finish typing in my numbers and see if you guys get the same numbers as me. So let's see here. We're doing this one down here, aren't we? How many numbers are there? 20. I can't see all the numbers. There we go. All right, let's go. What the? Oh, 40, 43, 6, 40.5, 35.75, 39.75, 32.75, 36.75, 8.75, twice 38.75, 36.75, 38.75. How annoying is it to type 0.75 repeatedly? Oh, my goodness. 29, 35, 42.75, 32.75, 40.75, and 35.25. God. I mean, it's not that bad, but, I'm slightly annoyed. All right, so let's go ahead and calculate it. I'm going to call the time here, and thank you for those of you who typed in your answers. I appreciate that you showed it to me. And again, if you're ever lost, I appreciate that you go into the Pear Deck and even type out that you are lost in there as well, right? Because again, it helps me out knowing that you guys are in there. It makes me a little sad though. There's only like 12 of you guys out of the 28 that are in here. But I understand if you guys, aren't able to get in there. That's why I'm not too strict about the points on the Pear Deck, but it is something I do for your participation points. But again, just let me know if you are having trouble getting into that, and you can just type it into the chat. I record this as well on the chat so I can get your participation that way. So let's take a look here. The mean that most people got, right, was 37.8 and some change. Everyone's change is a little bit different. Well, actually, no. Yeah, everyone's mean is. Oh shoot, did I mess up on this? Because you guys got all the same. Oh, you guys all got the same mean. I got a different mean. Oh, what knocked me? Did you fail at this? I think I failed at one of the numbers. Uh-oh. Well, I'm gonna go with your guys' means because I trust you. I think you guys are doing this better than I am, so I'm gonna trust your numbers. So if you guys have the wrong answer, don't blame me because I'm gonna write down your answers. So let's see here. Whose numbers do we have here? Who has the most numbers written out here? We're going to go with this person. They have the standard deviation for their sample to be 3.9789, right? And X bar is going to be equal to 37.8875. Michael never does mistakes. Exactly. You'll never see this mistake because I never make mistakes. It never happened. I'm just going to close that out. And I'm using your answers because I trust you guys as students that you've done them correctly, right? So this is an answer I see repeated on a lot of these answers here, except for some of you guys have a different value. Oh, I think some of you guys just rounded. That's all it was. So it looks like, yeah, you guys all have pretty much the same numbers here, just rounded at different spots. And that's perfectly fine. If you round it differently from others, I will give you the points still most of the time, as long as you're close enough. If it was 30, like for example, this is 37.8875. If you put down 37.89 or 37.9, I'll give it to you. If you put 38, I'm going to mark that wrong. Don't round it to a whole number unless it specifies to do so. Please round to give me some decimal points, and the more decimal points, the better. Okay, and yeah, that's it. And again, if this is wrong, I got this answer off of, who am I picking on today? Patricia. If this is wrong, everyone go yell at Patricia. This is her answers. I believe they're right though, but if they're wrong, that's the person you can go yell at. I'm sorry, Patricia, I threw you under the bus. But anyways, that's it for how to calculate the standard deviation and how to calculate the mean. Okay, and we're gonna do, if you still feel like you don't know how to do this, by the way, please don't hesitate to ask. We're gonna be spending more and more and more and more time on this, and that's what we're gonna be doing next week as well. So yeah, practice. I will post up the homework for this, but you won't be able to do all of them. You will be able to do half of them, right? You will be able to do half of them. The homework will be posted online. And these are the problems right there. I'll post them up later today. You can, yes, Lewis, you can stop by the office hours to retake like 5 quizzes. Yes, Lewis, that is possible. That goes for everyone here as well. If you want to come by to retake your quiz, I will be in my office hours today. I couldn't be in my office hours yesterday because I had to take my mom to the doctor's office, but I will be here today. So stop by my office hours from 1 to 2, and I will open up those quizzes for you. Other than that, we'll practice this more on next week on Tuesday. On Monday, be ready for a quiz, guys. It'll be a very easy quiz on Monday when we get in there, but you will have a quiz on Monday. So just get yourself prepared for that. And other than that, have a great weekend, guys. I will also have office hours tomorrow, Michael, and you can do it tomorrow as well. And other than that, have a good weekend. Stay out of trouble, stay out of jail, and don't get pregnant, guys. See you guys on Monday. All right, have a good weekend. Bye-bye. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Sayonara.